Hey folks, it's your pal Mike Shea from slyflourish.com and twitter.com/slyflourish here with a special episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy DM Prep. Typically, this is a weekly show shot 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Times on Sundays. However, today we're having a special episode because I have a game today. Today is Saturday. I will still be having a show tomorrow on Sunday in which we talk about my homebrew Eberron campaign called The Second Morning. But I had an opportunity, we're trying to take all the opportunities we can while we're sitting at home, socially distancing ourselves. And my opportunity is I get to play with a few people that are typically kind of far away, but we can get together for a game today. So I have a group of maybe 5 to 6 people, not quite sure exactly how many, a friend of a friend might be coming. And we are going to be playing over Discord. I have run, I think, about 4 games over Discord now. That sounds about right. And we're getting to know Discord pretty well as a platform for playing D&D. I'm pretty comfortable with it. So this is so it's going to be a good time. And I was pondering, so I knew that I wanted to get the group together, but I didn't know what I wanted to play. And I was kind of looking around for different adventures and thinking, like, do we want to do one shot? Do we want to start a campaign? What do we want to do? And I've always, I've had Descent into Avernus on my shelf, and both my groups my regular groups were more interested in playing in Eberron than they were in Avernus. So we said, let's skip Avernus for now, and we'll do Eberron, which meant I wasn't playing Avernus for anybody. So I said, it might be kind of fun to play Avernus, and it looks good with qualifiers. So I wanted to give it a shot and see what we could do. Let me know if any of my levels and everything are cool. And glad to see all of the people here in chat today. So thank you all for coming. So so what I looked at was a adventure that so I've been, while I haven't been running Avernus, I've been paying a lot of attention to Avernus. I gave the book a solid skim read, not a deep read, not like a Sam Dillon level deep read, but I did give it a good cursory read, and I've been reading lots of people talking about it, and some folks in my Discord channel have been running it, and they've been talking about it. Merrick Blackman being one of them. He's been running it for his local AL group in Australia. And so I've been watching that. Hey, my mom is here. Hi, Mom. So, And so I've been paying a lot of attention to it, even if I haven't been running it. It's my mic, or my camera's a little high. There we go. So, so I've been paying a lot of attention to it. And, but I haven't been running it. And so I said, well, it might be a good chance for us to run it today. And I don't know if it's going to be a regular campaign or not, so we'll see. But I figure, even if it's got, I don't mind leaving players hungry. So not everything has to have like a clean ending. I think having, as long as the ending is solid enough and, you can have some nice big hints at the end, even if it's not complete. So, but one thing I knew was that I didn't like the introduction to Descent into Avernus. The way the adventure, by the way, so this show is going to be full of Descent into Avernus spoilers. So prepare yourself. Close the door so my wife doesn't hear. I knew when I read it that I wasn't crazy about how it started. And to me, the reason why is, and again, full of spoilers, the beginning of the adventure starts with an entire city called Elturel being sucked into Avernus, the first layer of hell. There's like a little picture of it in the lower right corner. You can see. So Elturel is a very interesting city because it has a orb that floats over. It's a full-size city, but it has an orb that floats over it that essentially bathes the city in daylight all the time. And I think it has something to do with a vampire. The vampires used to rule over Elturel hundreds of years ago, and then somebody made a pact and with an angel, and they bathed the entire city in sunlight all the time, and that kind of got rid of all the vampires. That was like a good, clear way to get rid of all the vampires. And then the city has been this kind of, monument of stalwartness and fighting in the, light in the darkness kind of place. And then in beginning of Descent into Avernus, one day the sun goes black, completely black, and essentially teleports the entire city out of Faerun and into hell, right? And in the adventure, all of that happens off screen. And instead of seeing that, you start with a bunch of refugees trying to get into Baldurs Gate, and people very angry about Baldurs Gate. Hey, Joe Kupski is here. And Joe, this is full of spoilers, but not for your group, so I think you're okay. And I don't know if we'll be running for a group, so it's probably cool. And maybe you already know everything about it anyway. So the idea that you would have this massive, one of the things that D&D is so good at is we have an unlimited special effects budget, right? We can describe anything. We could talk about planets colliding. We can talk about suns that smash into planets and destroy them completely. We could talk about infinite layers of the abyss that are each infinitely wide. We can describe things that cannot exist and cannot be visualized, right? Or cannot be easily visualized and cannot be done with special effects. We have an unlimited special effects budget. And one of those would be watching an entire city get teleported into hell. And they don't show it, right? It's not an actual scene in the book. And a lot of people are like, why in the nine hells would you not show a scene like that? Why would you have that be one of the defining moment of the campaign, right? The major hook for the whole campaign, and you don't see it. So that's kind of a bake. So as Retired Android says, well, you can include it in the intro. Yeah, you can. You can also run we'll pull it up here on the other side. There's an adventure, put together by Justice Armand and Fall of Elturel. There it is. Baldurs Gate, The Fall of Elturel. This is done by Anthony Joyce and Justice Armand, and it is a short adventure. I think, what did they say? 22-page adventure that is a different introduction into Descent into Avernus. And this is the adventure that I'm going to be running today. Instead of starting at the gates of Baldur's Gate, it starts in Elturel, and you are there as three major political factions. Now, some of this is my own that I'm planning to do, and then some of this is here in this adventure. I don't know. Let's see if I have a copy I can pull up. Instead of starting at Baldur's Gate, you start in Elturel before the Fall of Elturel, and there's these major political factions are getting together. Yeah, there's Tyranny of Dragons can be included in this too, but and actually. So I've run the hell out of Tyranny of Dragons, so I'm not going to run that again. But I love having Tyranny of Dragons as like a hook into all of the campaigns that take place inside Forgotten Realms. It's kind of fun to have that be sort of a common element, that the missing dragons and everything like that. We can talk about that a little bit more, but yeah, we'll see. So major political factions are getting together in Elturel, including Grand Duke Ulder Ravengard and Onthar Froom, head of the Order of the Gauntlet, and some other person who's head of the Hell Riders. And the leader of Elturel was supposed to be there as well, but didn't show up. And this has caused a major political problem. At the same time, Baldur's Gate itself is starting to fall into disorder. And they are, all kinds of craziness is going on. So the characters go off on a few side missions, and they find 4 different cults operating outside of Elturel. 3 of the cults are known as the Cult of the Dead Three. These are the cultists of Bane, Baal, and Merkel, 3 evil dead gods. And they are still conducting these dark rituals outside of Elturel. And they are going after the Cult of the Dragon, which is the people who were responsible for attempting to bring up Tiamat during the War of the Dragon, which happened 5 years ago in my world. And Tiamat was going to come to Faerun, and they stole tremendous amounts of money to try to lure her into the realm. Lost much of the money, not all of it, but much of it, and bankrupted many villages and towns all around the area. So they're all getting together in Elturel. The party goes and deals with some Dead Three cultists, and on their way back after dealing with some of these cultists, they're standing on a hill, and then boom, they see the companion, the big sun that's hanging over the city, turn black, and they see these huge hellish rifts tear around the city, and they watch the whole city just collapse into hell, and then what's left is a giant crater. So Oh, interesting. So Wayne says there was also a blog post series in D&D Beyond from James Hake, which I will be running probably. Road to Baldur's Gate was the title. Really like those since they introduced devil deals and very stuff early on. Interesting. I'll have to take a look at those. I don't know if I'll have a chance before my game today. I think I'm kind of committed, but we'll see. So what I like about Fall of Elturel is that it shows the event, right? And it also kind of throws you into a different drive than your refugees outside of Baldur's Gate, and now you're conscripted to go hunt down cultists, and if you don't do it, we kill you, which is kind of what's in the book. So I didn't like how the book buried like the main scene of the thing, and I like this better. The other interesting thing is that it gives some options for factions for characters. I think we're going to start that all of the characters are either associated with or tied to the Hell Riders of Elturel. And this makes Elturel they're all from Elturel, and they love it, right? And they know its history. I can spill a lot of the history of Elturel on them because they'll be natives to Elturel. And then when they see the city disappear, they have an immediate strong hook of, we need to get Elturel back. So so that's what we're going to be running. Why don't I see if I can pull it up here? Elturel, Fall of Elturel. Bink. That looks good. Yes, so here it is. So I'm much happier with that introduction. And the Hell Riders are really interesting. So I feel like I've already got enough to like go with an adventure. And why don't we go through the steps today? So I'm going to jump over to here. And actually what I'll do is grab the adventure and stick it in the other window over here. Fall of Elturel is intended to be a 2-hour introductory adventure. And it has that like stronger connection to the factions. It's really well designed, and it's, not to complain, but I don't know why the $50 hardback book doesn't include a better introduction than something that a couple of community folks can put together for $5. I'm not knocking Justice, like Anthony and Justice are doing the God's work here, right, of making this thing. But like, you put so much money into a hardback book. It's a really weird concept, right? Like, you put so much money in the hardback book. I don't know how much that costs, but boy, when you hold, like I have the collector's edition of Descent into Avernus, and you open it up and it's filled with beautiful artwork, double page spread artwork, this incredible production quality, right? So good. And then you read it and like the hooks are a mess. And I've talked to people who've run it and they're like, yeah, the hooks are a mess, right? And you ask people like, how did this happen? And they're like, well, it's loose. So I have a theory. And I don't know, gossipy theory. But I think like the marketing team got involved in this adventure late. My feeling is that when they were making this thing, they probably had a direction they were going. And then at some point, the marketing team said, we want to try to sell this outside of just Descent into Avernus. We want to make, and they knew that Baldur's Gate 3 was coming out. So they said, why don't we try to tie it in with Baldur's Gate? Well, the weird thing is like Baldur's Gate 3 isn't out. It's not even going to be out for like a year. So they're missing the mark there anyway. And the announcement was around the same time. So they sort of had like announcing Baldur's Gate, the video game, plus Baldur's Gate 3, but that's convoluted because like, the game's not out, right? So here's one that is released that's from. So I think I don't know if Baldur's Gate was thrown in after the fact or not, but it seems like it's kind of disjointed. And also they had a Baldur's Gate adventure. We just had Murder in Baldur's Gate was like 4 years ago. Maybe it's longer than that, 6 or 7 years ago. But it wasn't that long ago when we had a big Baldur's Gate adventure. And they have a big Baldur's Gate primer, and it's all available on DM's Guild already. So I don't know why they threw Baldur's Gate in here. And that kind of, that's kind of weird if you ask me. But whatever, here we are. And the book has such great production value. It's a shame not to use it. The other interesting thing, though, is if I could go to Amazon, and they're just complaining now. But, if you go to Amazon and look at Avernus, it's got 936 5-star reviews, right? That's a lot of reviews. In comparison, like if we look at let's look at Curse of Strahd Curse of Strahd's always one to like benchmark against because so that's 1,056. This is from my polls and everything like that, the most popular of D&D adventures. It's the one that has held the longest and been run the most, and it's a great adventure. It's the best adventure I've ever played, and it's the best 5th edition adventure you can get, if you ask me. And that one has 1,056 5-star reviews, so which means I think Avernus is a close second, which tells me, like, hey, whatever marketing, here's like, ugh, so there's a verified purchase of somebody. I'm not going to read like bad reviews. Yeah, so unimaginable with uneven bits and a few creaky plot devices. And then some people got damaged versions. Everyone gets damaged versions. So, yeah, lots of things. So the number of reviews is pretty significant. And the quality of the reviews is, it's averaging 5 stars, which is pretty great. But like, how do you, so I think a lot of it is due to, I think people buy it and they look at the production value, and the production value is great. I saw a review online that said it's the best D&D adventure that's ever been made. And you're like, that's not true. Like, I'm not an expert. I don't know. I'm probably an expert, right? I think you could probably say I've been spending a lot of time playing D&D games, and Chris Estrada, like as a DM reading it, I know where to go with Chris Estrada. And this one, I feel like I have to go to a third-party publisher in order to get a introduction to this adventure that I actually dig. So yeah, anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. I wish they would spend more time making sure that the storyline is clear and focusing on that. I worry that the marketing team is getting too involved in the products that are coming out of D&D, and that might suffer. The work might suffer. So I don't know. Let me take a drink here. Not on mic. About hardcover adventures is thirsty work. So anyway, I'm running Fall of Elturel. I don't care. We are where we are. Like, you can't complain about an adventure after the fact, right? It's out. It is the way it is. It's out. And and we want to squeeze it, right? Like, again, how much? Let's. I'm going to throw a number out there. I'm going to make up a number. So we'll do a little tiny bit of science. Like, what's the minimum amount of money it would cost to make that adventure? It's that thing's got to be at least a $50,000 adventure on the minimum, and it could be as much as $150,000 adventure. So if we average those together, that's like $80,000, right? So if you do like the geometric mean, the geometric mean is like somewhere around $80,000. So that means like you're getting an $80,000. It costs $80,000 to make that book, and we get it for 50, right? Or 30 if you bought it on Amazon. That's value, right? You're getting a lot of money. A lot of money went into that. A lot of people's energy, a lot of money, a lot of stuff went into that book, and you're getting it for $30, right? That's a crazy deal. So we want to take that and we want to squeeze it and we want to get as much out of it as we can. And we can with just some slight tweaks and everything like that. Austin Neda says, do you think best campaign ever is more campaign setting and its surrounding rather than playability? I mean, it's got max flavor, right? Yeah, it's got max flavor. And no, I mean, it's an adventure, right? This is these books are campaign adventures. They are big, 3-tier adventures. And the setting, I think people like it because the atmosphere is good, but it's not playable as is, or the playability is challenged. I'm being nice. But like, I've talked to people who run it and they're running it in AL campaigns. They have to kind of quote unquote run it as is, which I think is a mistake. But they run it as is and they have lots of problems, right? There's lots of hooks that never sink in. And we're going to talk about some of those today. So, so I think, I think it's a problem. Like it's a usability problem. It's beautiful and it's got atmosphere and the art is great and the monsters are cool and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but you can't actually just open it up and play. And I'd argue like Curse of Strahd, you can. Like Curse of Strahd is great. I'd even argue that, so Tomb of Annihilation has probably a few problems that are similar to this one. Tomb felt easier to fix with just some tiny little tweaks. But I feel like this one needs more work. Just from the get-go. I haven't run it yet, so this isn't a full review because I can't do a full review until I've run it all the way through. And that was true for Tomb of Annihilation. Like it took me running Tomb of Annihilation twice all the way through before I felt confident saying, here's Tomb of Annihilation. Navy DM says, I love a lot of the people that wrote this book. I love them too, and I don't necessarily blame them. So I don't think this is a matter of faulty writing. I think it was a production problem. I think that it was an issue with how it was put together. So we'll see. Anyway, let me dive in. I got a game to go. So let's talk about a game. I need coffee. I gotta drink. I haven't had enough caffeine yet, clearly. It's decaf, so it's not helping. For exactly that reason, a lot of the good parts that were not connected that well. Yeah. So I'm putting my finger, I'm putting blame as anything else. Like, what do I want? I want a cohesive adventure, and I want one that where it's built to run, right? I want one that's really well tuned and play tested and built for people to be able to open it up and run it, right? And not do a lot of work. I'm a lazy dude and I don't want to do a lot of work. And when I pay $50 is an incredible bargain for a, $80,000-ish product that came out. It's probably even more than that. I think when you consider like the salaries and the cost of everybody involved, I don't know. I'll have to do like an estimate on how much I think it costs, but like $100,000 isn't out of the question. So $50 is a tremendous value for $100,000 for an adventure that had a $100,000 production cost. But it's also $50. And when you spend $50 on an adventure, it ought to be playable, like right out of the thing. You ought to be able to grab and go and not be like, hey, this guy tells you that you have to go hunt these cultists. And if you don't, he's going to come and kill you with guys that are way more powerful than you. Hey, those dudes who are more powerful than me, send them after the cultist. Anyway, so let's get into the start. So I'm running Fall of Elturel. I already know this, and I want to go with where we go. Do I have yes, I've got my game notes up here. So who are the characters? I don't know. So part of a game today is we're going to talk about the characters, but I do think we're going to have group factions. This is a group faction is really, the idea's been around about, I talk about it in Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, and they actually made it a core component of Descent or of Eberron. And I think we're going to do it here. And there are 3 potential factions, but I think we're leaning towards Hell Riders. So I think it might be cool to have them all focused on the Hell Riders and all focused around a particular Hell Rider NPC. And we should put that as the main, who's the main group? A Hell Rider lieutenant, and somebody in chat who knows this adventure can make my life easier because I'm gonna have to go dig. But there is there a Dramatis Personae in this one? They don't have that one in this one. Sometimes they have a Dramatis Personae and they show all the people that are going to be involved. Yeah, thank you. Anthony Joyce, are you the Anthony? Is A Joyce 001 the writer of this adventure? Are you the Anthony Joyce? Excellent. Oh, you can help me out. That's so great that you're here. How awesome is it? Talk about privilege when you can come on Twitch and one of the people that's in your Twitch channel is one of the people that wrote the adventure you're about to run. Thank you, Anthony, for doing the work of the gods and helping make Descent into Avernus a more playable adventure. You still activated. Oh, is Anthony Joyce in the military? So Rhea. Let's do a search for Rhea. And get last names. Rhea Mantlemorn. All right, so we have an NPC, and I think this is going to be the reason why I'm jumping straight to this. Is a lawful good female human hell rider, speaks common, born in the land of Termish. Rhea yeah, this is good. So she actually sees the event take place. She is, I don't know, let's see. Does she have a rank? And she's probably in the, in here too. Anthony, a question for you. Do you care that I have the PDF of your adventure up here? I don't want to show too much. I can just show the beautiful cover. If it bothers you, I will do that off screen. But I don't want to necessarily say like, here's the whole adventure. Please let me know if that becomes a problem. Okay, you do free previews. Awesome. Just want to make sure. Is Rhea in here? Is Rhea Mantlemorn? So Rhea is a teenager? Again, I ask that Rhea, a teenage Hell Rider, lead the raid against the Cult of the Dragon and Elder Roads, and that the characters belonging to the Hell Riders accompany her. So, wow. Yeah, so she is a junior Hell Rider. I might make her a little bit like a Hellrider Lieutenant. I think we're going to up her age a little bit, and I think we're going to make her a Hellrider Lieutenant because I have a feeling that she's going to be kind of the main group patron. And she could still be very young. Like maybe she's still a teenager. Yeah. She's just really good. She's a prodigy. I don't want her to overshadow the characters though. So I have a feeling I'm not going to have her join the party. I think she's going to give information to the party, but she's going to do investigating off screen. So she's going to be a main vehicle for information coming back to the characters sort of off screen. So she's the group. Rhea Mantlemorn is the group patron. Group patron. Yeah, Joan of Arc was 17. Exactly. So I don't know who the characters are. So we're going to find that out today. And I've got my group patrons. So the strong start is the argument. The real thing is where the F is Thavis. Is that his name? Krieg? Thavius Krieg. Look at this, man. All you need to run D&D is have 50 people in your channel that can help you run D&D. So Thavius Krieg is another important NPC. These and current, and he's the head of Elturel, right? And he is missing. He is also, spoiler, the instigator of the events going on here. So where the F is Thavis Krieg is the strong start. We have, what's his called? Duke Ravengard, right? Klieg? Klieg. Is it Klieg? Klieg. Better? Whoops. Oldar? And is he High Duke? Is that right? He is there. Who heads the Onthar Froom of the Order of the Gauntlet is here. And is there a leader of the Hellriders? Does anybody know? Before I start looking. If not, I will make one up. But if there's a leader of the Hellriders, and is there a leader of the Hellrider? Like, who are the important NPCs after Elturel falls into hell? It'd be really great to bring them in here. I should know that. Let me go to Tale of Two Cities and let's look up. Oh, you list them in the Fall of Elturel, so let me take a look. Whoa, maps. I don't know why this is. Gideon Lightward. There you go. So they're here. All these leaders, these important people, right? A bunch of the leaders are here, and they are expected to be having a council meeting to discuss the Oldar Ravengard is losing control of Baldurs Gate, right? Cultists have grown, and corruption is coming with them. It is as though someone, it is as though someone, on D&D Beyond, there is not a Dramatist persona, but pronunciation guide, which does the same job in the index view. Oh, cool. Cultists are grown in the city and corruption is coming with them. It is as though a poisoned has been planted deep in the city. Right? Nice, solid thing. And, you know, the how about this? The city is descending into hell. This is all Duke Ravengard saying this. And he's like, are you kidding me? We've been negotiating this, right? You like that? It's like he's metaphorically saying the city's falling into hell, right? And then Elturel actually falls into hell. And I think some of the players are going to know, and that'll be kind of funny. So the characters are going to see this exchange. Eldar Ravengard is there. He's like, are you kidding me? You know, we've had a tenuous relationship for all of this time, and we negotiated. I left my city to come here to work with you guys, and you're telling me that Thavius Klieg is in Baldurs Gate? That he left? What in the hell are you talking about? Like, why, you know, why would this be? And so the AVDM says, that's already a better connection than the actual start of the book. Yeah. So, you know, he's like, this is insane. You know, what is going on? And meanwhile, so, you know, and he's saying, look, you got cultists on your own side, you know, and, you know, and so he gives information to, so like, okay, so they see all of that. And then, the patron, Rhea, is there, sends the characters out to hunt. So, you know, and this is like, look, I don't know that anything's going to happen here today. You know, we're in a bad state, but we have, you know, why don't you go out? You know, if the rumors are true that there are actually cultists that are operating outside of Elturel, why don't you go find them and kill them? Right? There's a job for you. Go find them and learn what you can if this is true. Do it right now. And so then the characters head out and they engage in the adventures inside Fall of Elturel, which is awesome. It starts off with a wedding, right? Yay, we have a nice wedding. And they get to see a wedding and they have some fun NPC things. It's a great way. I really like this idea. The one thing I'm not doing. So and one thing that Anthony and Justice did in here is that this can be run as a precursor to either Tyranny of Dragons or Descent into Avernus, but I've already run Tyranny, so I'm going to have this set 5 years after Tyranny, which means they're all here to discuss the missing gold. And they came here to try to say, how are we going to, maybe part of it is Uldor wants to use the gold to help hire more Flaming Fist mercenaries, and he's come to get it. The dragon's gold. That ties it to a whole bunch of other things. So, yeah, and then I think, so they'll see all of that, and then the characters will be sent off. They get involved in the wedding, and then they go out and they get to the areas, and they see the, they have the wedding, saving grace. Oh, yeah, what happens here? 15-year-old human female grace collecting spare coins. She get treated by a bear? Wolves, right? Oh yeah, so we can have like hell wolves, that kind of chase it. So that's a good one. So let's go to our scenes. The failed negotiation, treed by wolves, and devil wolves. Foreshadowing is great. So having wolves with like red eyes and like mangy fur and, you know, weird, yeah, crazy stuff on them. The wedding. The red wedding. Because it's taking place during hell. It's not really a red wedding. Let's just say the wedding. Treed by wolves and then hunting, cultist hunting, right? And I love the idea that the Dead 3 cultists are sacrificing a dragon cultist. Like that's kind of, you know, one problem solving another. So I kind of dig that idea that there's still some dragon cultists around. But you know, yeah, there's a lot of them. So what is this? Wandering in the woods, 20% chance characters attract the attention of owlbear. Maybe. I don't know. Level 1. I am doing my house rules where everybody gets 5 extra hit points so that you can actually throw an owlbear and not kill people. And then here is the ritual site. And there's a bunch of dead dragon cultists here. So the cultists of Dead 3, are they working together? Right? They're all because the Dead 3 is kind of one cult, right? I mean, they're different factions, but they're not fighting each other, and they're I'm going to throw this in my I'm going to throw it in my I'm going to throw it in Discord so that they can see it. So, so they fight some cultists, right, in some rings. And I think there's some nice kind of interesting cultists here. Different. I like the Cult of the Dead 3. I always like them anyway. I love cultists, period. But I think the difference of these cultists is really kind of interesting. The aura of murder and stuff like that is kind of a cool effect. So, did I fall off? Am I gone? Hello? Hello? Am I back? You might have to hit refresh on your browser, but hopefully it's still working. Weird. A drop. Okay. I don't know what happened. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so they fight the Cult of the Dead 3. They go cultist hunting, and then they see the Fall of Elturel. And that is the adventure. And that may end up being most of it. So at that point, they will, when they see all of that, they will hit level 2. And then we will, I think we're going to smash cut to 2 weeks later, and they're at Baldurs Gate. These smash cuts can be tricky because there's usually somebody who's like, wait, I wanted to do a thing. And then you're like, okay, what, 2 weeks have passed as you made your way to Baldur's Gate. What did you do? So you can kind of run with that. But I think that we're going to start in Baldur's Gate. And then I guess the Elf Song Inn is a good place to go. And they're going to meet. I think we're going to have them meet their patron again, Rhea. As far as she knows, she might be the last Hell Rider. Like, there's not a lot of Hell Riders left because they were all in, Elturel when it fell. There were a few, but, it's been trouble, and many consider that the Hell Rider, they're in hiding, right? And all the remaining ones are in hiding because the Flaming Fist has been going crazy, and they've been actually hanging Hell Riders. Because they believe that the Hell Riders were responsible for kidnapping older Raven Guard. And she's wanted by the Flaming Fist, so that's pretty cool. So she meets at Elf Song Inn, and she says, I don't think it's a coincidence. She goes, I think there are a few other coincidences. There's too many coincidences here. Why was the Cult of the Dead 3 operating outside of the city when it disappeared? I think that the cult has something to do with this. We know that the cult, Uldar told us that the cult is active in this city. And I have a friend here who tells me that they believe they're operating out of the bathhouse. And I would like, I can't go with you, but I would like you to go to the bathhouse and go root out these cultists and find out what you can. And see if you can figure out what the hell they did to steal our city. I think that's a pretty strong hook. And then the characters head to the bathhouse, and the sewer, the whatever it is, the lair of the Dead 3, right? That's like 8 hours of gameplay right there. So I think scene wise, this is about a 5-hour game. This is longer than my normal game, 4 or 5 hours, including character creation and getting people set up on Discord and troubleshooting problems and stuff. So I'm not gonna be too tight on time. And it's possible they might only get to the Fall of Elturel, but then it might also get to Baldur's Gate. And it would not surprise me if they get to the point where they're about to enter the bathhouse, and that's where we would stop. So that's not crazy. Questions from Rhea. What are the Cult of the Dead 3 doing? What happened to my beloved city? Does this actually tie to Baldur's Gate somehow? Seems a weird thrown in connection. Yeah. Right. So a hard part that I was trying to ponder this before the show today. And the hard part that I was trying to figure out is like, when you see an entire city fall into hell, why would your next step would be like, well, I guess we should keep going after those cultists, huh? Right? Like you don't know it. But I think that, to me, the idea that Rhea believes that that the Cult of the Dead 3 is responsible, right? It's one of these like correlation equals causation. And she thinks like, we had all these cultists doing these rituals outside the city. What if there had been dozens of them doing these kinds of rituals all around the city? And that's what caused this. And we know they're operating in Baldur's Gate, so we're going to do it. So Rhea believes, and this is where we're getting into our secrets here. Rhea believes that the cultists are responsible for the fall of Elturel. Yeah, Rhea believes that maybe, that you know, Thavius is Thavius's disappearance could be connected to the Cult of the Dead 3. We have Flaming Fist have been executing members of the Hell Riders. Flaming Fist mercenaries have been executing Hell Riders. Baldur's Gate has never been a nice place. But in the past, what? How long has the shield been in Baldur's Gate? Has fallen hard in corruption and bloodshed over the past 6 months. I like that. 6 months has been getting worse and worse and worse. The politics are in turmoil with Ravenguard's disappearance. So older Ravenguard was the only thing keeping things tied together in Baldur's Gate, and with his disappearance, it's now going to completely fall into disarray. It's martial law. Flaming First mercenaries have been taking, Valthyr. So this is one of the other the Dukes. The Council of Four. Duke. Valthyr has been speaking against the Flaming Fist, right? I think her Thelmara. Let me do a search on that and see what I can find in the book. It is really nice to be able to search on stuff like this. Devil worshipping beast of a woman in her late 60s. You can stare down the hellhound and she's without flinching. So she's orchestrated this, right? She wants to be the new Grand Duke. Yeah, Rhea's tale is important. That she's investigating the room with Thavius Krieg, High Overseer. So Thavius Krieg was seen in Baldur's Gate, right? Um, what else? What other secrets do we have? I mean, so in this case, like, I'm trying to make sure that my secrets are tight enough to make sure that I'm tying the threads of the story together, right? That it's you can get from point A to point B to point C. And for this, I'm not worrying about the whole rest of the adventure. There's all kinds of stuff about getting into Avernus and Candlekeep and shields and villa, heist at villas and all this stuff. And that's like, I don't even, I'll worry about that when it's time to worry about that. What I'm worried about today is like tying these scenes together. You have the failed negotiation, you have the wedding, you have the being treated by wolves, you have hunting cultists, you have the fall, and then from the fall, I need to get the characters from the outer edge of the destruction of Elturel to Baldurs Gate, where they are trying to find out what happened and how to bring it back, and they think it's tied to the Cult of the Dead 3. And I think that is pretty strong. And then finding Thavius Klieg. So who is hiding Klieg? Klieg is hidden by the Cult of the Dead 3, right? Oh, come on. Isn't that how it's spelled? Did I spell it right, Klieg? Am I not spelling it right? Is it not Klieg? Was I given faulty? It is Krieg. Who said Klieg? Man. I did a search and replace. I don't think it was you. I think it was Joe. Joe's screwing things up. There we go. Evil in Baldur's Gate. Without the flaming fist, blah blah blah. Because it's Thavius Klieg. Raymond did not go eagerly. He arrived. Duke Valthyr is sheltering Krieg in the dungeon beneath her villa. So we could say that Krieg was seen with Valthyr. That's a good juicy secret, right? Her son stole the shield of the hidden lord from a tomb beneath the city. Now that's being held. So where is the shield now? Adventurers encounter Thavius Klieg and find the shield. That's it's in the villa. She's got it too. It's in the villa with him. Okay. And while it's there, like, evil is pouring out of the city from this place. Basically, when they dug it out of the tomb is when this started. So I think that will have been 6 months ago. It woke up, right? It was asleep in the tomb. And the corruption in Baldur's Gate was always pretty bad, but it's never like this. And then they woke it up 6 months ago. Hidden Lord? Shield of the Hidden Lord was dug out of an ancient tomb 6 months ago. Since then, Baldur's Gate has fallen into blood and deception. Valthyr's sons were responsible for the excavation. Very good. All right, so I've got good secrets and clues. I've got my scenes. I've got connectors. I'm pretty happy with that. Fantastical occasions, I'm not going to worry about because these are in the adventure. And boy, watching an entire city disappear is a good enough fantastic location. So I'm pretty happy with that. I don't really need to worry about locations because the adventures have me covered. Because Anthony Joyce has me covered. Now I have to do the work. So, NPCs, we have Rhea Mantlemorn, we have Thavius Krieg, the current leader, and we have Thalmara Vathenpur. Duke of Baldurs Gate. Hiding Thavius and the shield. Any other important NPCs that we have here? We have the 3 leaders. Oldar Ravengard, Ontharr Froom, and Gideon Lightward. Put them down here. They're not super important. Ontharr Froom, Order the Gauntlet, and Gideon Lightward, head of the Hell Riders. So who's the woman in the bar? All the way back at the top. Boy, they put everything in this chapter, didn't they? Tirana? Like, who actually knows the stuff that's going on? Yeah, Tirana. Chaotic Evil. She's what does she want? Oh, I guess she wants people to deal with the bandits that are causing her trouble. Is she a Flaming Fist spy? Flaming Fist spy, kind of, sorta. Good standing with 9 figures. So she's a cat. Even knows about what does she want? Like, what's her? Some money's always good. Does she know that the Vathenpurs, I don't know. I'm trying to think what would motivate her to work with the characters to give them information. She's the hook that gets the PCs to Dungeon of the Dead 3. She wants the PCs the PCs to protect her from pirates. I think she might know more than what's going on. And I think there's the Vathenpurs have something she wants. And she knows she's going to eventually send the characters into a death trap, yeah. That she knows that there's something in there. She doesn't want the shield. Maybe she does want the shield? You know, maybe her thought is like they stole that old shield and it's powerful and magical and I want it, and maybe she gets corrupted by it. That could be interesting. Do the Vathenpurs have Dragon Cultist Gold? That would be kind of interesting too. So yeah, I don't know. I have to worry about her too much. She's probably one of these who's smart enough. So it's like, I'll do you a favor right now, but you'll do something for me later. I'm just gonna, I'll give you something for later. Monsters are covered in the book. I don't really have to worry about that. It's like tons of cultists, right? But we've got some wolves and some other monsters, and that'll be fun. Treasure. I will probably throw a couple of relics in here. Some cool Cult of the Dead 3 relics would be great. Let's do 1 relic per character. So we will have a Bane. We need a Bane one, a Ball one, and a Merkle. So let's go to our relic generator here. Relics. Take a look. Abyssal Flute. Who would have it? Would Balls would have an Abyssal Flute? That sounds pretty great. That casts. What is a good murder spell? I think Merkel. I like Vampiric Touch is a good spell. Bane Searing Smite sounds good. A gauntlet that casts Searing Smite. With necrotic damage. Ball, inflict wounds. What's something that does it with blood, though? What's a good blood one? I could grab one of those blood boil spells from... inflict wounds, but it'd be blood boil, but it's actually inflict wounds. We'll just do that. And Merkel, somebody had a good one. Searing Smite, inflict wounds, and what's a good... Fear is always good. What's a good low-level necrotic spell? Vampiric Touch? I kind of like that for Ball, so I think we're going to switch these. And it'll be a glove. We'll do a glove. We'll do a dagger. And for Merkel, it will be a necklace, skull necklace. And this one casts inflict wounds. There we go. A Bane relic that casts Bane. It's not bad. I like Searing Smite, though. Like, it's a, Bane guys are all about physical strength and smashing stuff. So a gauntlet that you put it on and it casts like this necrotic smite. We go bang, and it's, does a ton of damage. I think that would be good. So, so there we have it. So I think I've got my treasure. Here's another little interesting thing. I'll have this in the notes too. I don't know if I talked about this last time, but here's a way to be able to create an alias in Discord using Avre that lets you roll initiative for everybody all at once. And I'm keeping this in my notes because I plan to use it. So it's a multi-line command that you put in with an alias. And then when you type bang roll init, it rolls initiative for everybody in the group automatically. Players don't have to do anything. And that way you can just very quickly go from story into combat without having to even say, roll for initiative. You can just run it and then, immediately start calling people's names. And it works pretty well. You have to tell your players you're doing it ahead of time, but it works really well. It is 11 o'clock. And, well, let's see. I started a little late, so I got a minute and a half left. Let's see. So I feel pretty good about this. I think it's capturing the fun theme of this adventure, and I think I'm going to be able to squeeze a lot out of the... I think I'm going to be able to squeeze a lot that's out of the hardcover, and I'm certainly going to get a lot of value out of Anthony Joyce's and Justice Armand's adventure. Anthony, thank you for coming in the chat today. It was really awesome to have the guy who wrote the adventure in the chat. Do you have any tips? So as the guy who wrote it, give me one good tip for making the most out of the adventure that you wrote. What you've now seen people running in the wild or heard people running it. What is the one tip you have for me to help get the most out of the work that you guys put together? It's a fantastic adventure, by the way. There are a lot of adventures out there that have covered this, like how to do it. Use grace and other emotional interactions to make the Fall of Elturel meaningful. When you say grace, is that a proper name, Grace? Who is Grace? Is that a person? Can domestic Black Wolf gaining companion, also characters getting a single pasted thread from Grace's rainbow scarf. Who is Grace? When characters witness a false, Grace is a young girl. Oh, she's the one that, yeah, okay. Very good. She's the one that got treed by the wolves. Okay. Yeah, that could be really fun. So we're going to throw her, yeah, Grace Lynn, right? And I think she will be a fun character to kind of keep, let me put her in my NPCs. And her parents are still in Elturel. And let me look at this rainbow scarf. What does the rainbow scarf do? Is it a special thing? Gain a single piece of thread from Grace's rainbow scarf if they give her one gold piece more. Ooh. Oh, I see. So she makes it back into town, but then you know that she's gone? Is that the idea? Yeah, okay, cool. Got it. Perfect. I will do that. That is a great tip. Yeah, rainbow scarf, and then they see a charred rainbow scarf goes flying by, and they're like, "Oh my god!" That'd be that's a great like chapter ender for that hold for the Fall of Elturel. And then we jump 2 weeks later. You're at Baldurs Gate. Cool. All right, I am ready to go. I'm eager to run some D&D today. So thank you all for coming today. I hope you enjoyed my rambling around in the beginning of Baldur's Gate or Descent in Avernus. Perhaps I will run a How Did It Go show later. We'll see how things go. Yeah, I kind of don't know. This group is sort of a one-off, so hopefully we keep going. And we will see where we go from there. So thank you all for coming today, and especially thanks to Anthony Joyce for coming in the chat and helping me not butcher his adventure. Hopefully I don't butcher it too badly. And I will be back on tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Twitch. You can follow the channel here to get an alert or watch on Twitter. I will announce it on Twitter. But at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, I will be talking about my Eberron second morning game. It'd be the third session of the second morning. Second morning. So see you tomorrow. And hopefully get out there and play some D&D. Have a great day.